ආයුබෝවන්. So now that you have got an intro to the overview of your writing task, let's have a look at what these letter types are and how can you approach these letters, right? Now, this is not very difficult like it is difficult for the academic students, but you should have some vocabulary and you should be able to write the letter properly, okay? Right. So, now let's have a look at a complaint letter first, because I wouldn't say that is a common style, but usually complaint letters could come up, right? Now, if you want to use phrases, right, I am not happy about, I'm writing to express my dissatisfaction, I'm very much unhappy with, I feel something should be done about. So here are some of the phrases you could use if you're complaining about something, right? You could readily take this, right? But when I say ready to take this, please don't memorize it and just put it somewhere, okay? You should write a lot of letters and make it a natural habit of writing and get into the practice of writing, right? I want you to know that I'm writing to express my annoyance with, I must complain about, I'm writing to you to complain, You can continue it, okay? So here are some of the useful phrases, not everything, but just a few so that you get an understanding, okay, I could use these for a complaint letter. Now, let's have a look at a practice question. Language errors lead you to a lower score. You know that because we've had a look at the band descriptors. Find the mistakes in the following sentences found in a complaint letter. I'd like you to take a few minutes and write this sentence and then find the error. Circle the error, underline the error. Last week, I bought a washing machine from your store, but from the first day, it is not working properly. I called so many times to the customer services, but they ignored my request. I requested the manager to find the solution for washing machine. She told me that she will send someone to fix the problem, but she didn't. I am very disappointed from the services of your company. I need that someone from you fix the washing machine problem or replace the current washing machine to the new one within 1 or 2 days. So take a few minutes and try to find the errors. Off you go. Alright, so on this side you have the answers where it's been corrected, right? So last week I bought a washing machine from your store, but from the very first day it is not working properly. Okay. I called many times to the customer service, but I was put on hold for a long time. This is unacceptable. So you can see how it has changed. Okay. I request to the manager. So I requested. So if you want to correct it, you could put requested. I requested to the manager to find a solution for the washing machine, and she told me that she would send a technician to fix the problem. I have been waiting for over 2 weeks now, but he has failed to do this, okay? So I think it should be, but she has, okay? So either has to be she has. You can put he here, but either way, either gender is fine, right? I'm very disappointed with the services of your company. And the last one, I expect someone from your company to fix this problem or replace the current washing machine within 1 or 2 days, right? All right, so moving on, practice question 2. You bought a TV a week ago, but you got home and you bought a TV a week ago, but when you got home, you discovered it did not work properly. You called customer service to report the problem, but you have not yet received any help. So write a letter And here are the 3 things that you must put in your letter. Introduce yourself, explain the problem, and state what action you would like from the company. Now, before you do one on your own, let's write one together, okay? So, because we are supposed to write this to a place where you bought a TV, what type of letter is this? First and foremost, this is a formal letter. And then what are you doing? Are you apologizing or complaining? You're complaining. So this is a complaint letter. So the tone must be formal and it must address a complaint style letter. Okay? So let's write down an answer. Because you don't know the person's name, you would say dear sir or madam. Come on, right? Then you write an introductory para or one line if you want. Body para 1, body para 2, body para 3 and lastly the closing sentence. Right, let's write down. I am writing this letter to report the faulty TV that I purchased from your company on Tuesday last week. Then I start writing my body para 1. So now in my body para 1, what should I do? Introduce myself. Now what was the first one that I wrote? This bit was like a purpose. Why am I writing this letter? Okay, so remember the introductory bit. So this is the introductory para. Or you can even say sentence. It's just one sentence. Okay, some people call it sentence also. Right? Now we have to introduce ourselves. So I will introduce myself, right? Editor මාව නැතුව screen එක විතරක් ගන්න. My name is Amy Wallace. And I am one of your frequent customers. I live in Chiswick and have been using your services and buying your products for the last 15 years. On Tuesday, 15th June, I visited your store to purchase a TV. I bought a Sony LED TV which has the code 987654321. On purchasing this TV, I was assured that this was the latest model and the best there was to buy. However, when I got home, I discovered that not only did the remote controls not work, but also the quality of the picture was not good as promised. In fact, it was quite blurry. I called your customer service department immediately on Tuesday, and they assured me that my TV would be replaced or fixed within 2 days. I am disappointed. I am disappointed to say that this has not happened and I have received no communication since then. The last para, what I want them to do, I am exceedingly, that means you're really unhappy, exceedingly, beyond, okay, displeased. So you're really unhappy with both the quality of the product I purchased from your company as well as the poor service I have received since. I hope this problem will be resolved promptly. I expect to receive a replacement TV or have my current TV repaired but only if it could be fixed within a day. I look forward to hearing back from you immediately. yours faithfully, now what was the name that I put right up? Amy Wallace, no? Right, okay. So you have to put your name there, yours faithfully, Amy Wallace. So I have to put Mrs. Amy Wallace. Okay, so here we have a nice good letter. Okay, so what are we supposed to do first? We were first supposed to give a little intro as to why we are writing the letter, and that's what we have done. The second para was to introduce yourself. So we've introduced, I said that my name was Amy Wallace and that I live in Chiswick and that I've been one of their regular customers. Then I needed to tell my problem. So I said, you know what, I bought a TV, but the remote wasn't working and the images were blurred, right? And then what I would like them to do. So I said, I'm really dissatisfied with your service and the product. So I want either a replacement, if not you could fix the one that I currently have, but it should be fixed within a day. If not, I want a new TV, right? So I look forward to hearing back from you immediately. So that is your closing statement. And then finally, you have yours faithfully, Mrs. Amy Wallace, because it is a formal letter and you don't know the person's name. So you can try writing a sample answer, but let's have a look at another question. Your next door neighbor owns a small dog that barks throughout the day and the night. Write a letter to your neighbor requesting that something must be done. Okay? Something must be done about the dog. Now, so in your letter, you must include your reason for writing, okay, and what you would like to happen in a very nice and respectful style, okay. So it's not like a real bullet point. This is a fairly old question, but in a very nice and respectful style, okay. So I'd like you to take a few minutes now this time and try to write an answer on your own, okay. So pause the video for 20 minutes now. Slowly start writing an answer on your own because I will then give you a sample answer. Alright, so pause the video here and off you go, 20 minutes. So hopefully you've written an answer. Let's have a look at a sample answer together, right? Dear Mr. Laxam, I am a nearby resident. Currently, I think we should write the C a bit clearer. Currently attending university. I am pursuing a degree in mathematics and my course material is very difficult to understand. I have to spend many hours studying for exams and working through practice problems. Unfortunately, due to the ongoing barking from the dog in your house, it is very difficult for me to concentrate. So next para, there are only 2 paras, right? I am writing to ask if there is anything you can do to help reduce the barking, especially during the later hours. It is difficult for me to study and sleep. I hope this letter does not offend you, as I am only trying to get myself some comfort at home to aid me in my studies. If you would like to further discuss this. Please contact me at your convenience. I hope we can resolve this smoothly. Thank you in advance. Yours sincerely, Emily Watson. Right, so it is kind of like a semi-formal one, right? Because you know the name of your neighbor, right? So I've written 2 paras and the last one is kind of being nice about it, okay? So that was like the 3rd para, but it meant that you have to be asking it in a very nice and respectful manner. So I kind of reminded that in a very nice and respectful manner, but usually it was like a 2 para one. This was fairly an old question, okay? But nowadays, the new ones, you always got 3 bullet points, okay? Right, so I hope you would have written something quite similar to this, hopefully. Let's have a look at what we have next. Now, the next tile is letter of application, right? So, first one was complaint letter and this one was letter of application. So, phrases that would help you to make an application, okay? I'm writing in relation to the position, advertised position of. If you have any further questions, please do not hesitate to contact me right at the end. You would write that. I'm writing to apply for the position of at the start of a letter. My most recent job was when you're explaining about it, maybe in the middle. Please find my CV attached. I'm available between the hours of 2 p.m. and 4 p.m. Monday to Thursday. My responsibilities included. I believe I have all the relevant experience required, right? So here are some of the phrases you could use when you're writing an application style letter. So let's have a look at a practice question. You are applying for a job as well as attaching a CV. You need to write a cover letter explaining your reasons for choosing this particular job at this particular company and why you would be a good hire. So you've got to say a few things. First one, you need to tell them possible qualifications or reasons as to why they should hire you. Your energy and enthusiasm for the job and the past experience in a similar position, right? Right, so I'd like you to take a few minutes, okay, and try to write a sample answer. And then, of course, when I write a sample answer, you could have a look at it. So take a few minutes and write your own answer. So hopefully you have written an answer. Let's have a look at a sample together, right? So because we don't know the person, we could say dear sir or madam, but I'd just say dear HR manager. I mean, you could write dear sir, madam. That's still okay. It's not wrong to do that, right? Okay, so let's start writing it. I am writing to express my interest in the position of international business manager that was advertised in the Times newspaper on 6th April 2022. Right. So now what you're supposed to do, first you have to write the possible qualifications of you to be hired, the reasons. Second one, your energy and enthusiasm, your past experience, right? So what I've done is I've kind of written an introduction. So next, what am I going to write? I'm going to write about the possible qualifications and reasons for them to hire me. Okay? Right, so off I go. I have done my bachelor's degree and got a first class honors in business management from the University of Birmingham, as well as a master's degree in international business from the University of Surrey. Where I worked with a professor in the new international business development program that provides me the immense knowledge of business we don't need the capital. Let's just take away the capital. Of business strategies and their growth. All right, so the next thing is that you have to talk about your energy and enthusiasm for the job, right? So you could start off by saying, I am a very energetic and enthusiastic worker when doing any job role. Continue, right? So you have to say that you're a very energetic and enthusiastic worker when you're doing any job role, and you can explain more about it, okay? Now here I've spoken a bit about my past experience, but you could touch on your past experience going down. So you could say, furthermore, I've worked in a similar capacity while in this specific company, and that gave me the experience and the knowledge for these kind of job roles mentioned in your job specification, right? And then finally, you can write a concluding sentence, hope to hearing from you soon, and then you can say yours faithfully, your full name. Right, so practice question 2. Your children go to a local school that requires volunteers to accompany school science trips. Write a letter to the school to apply to be a volunteer, right? You need to introduce yourself and give details of your children who attend the school, explain why you're interested in the position, and talk about any relevant experience you have. So off you go. You have 20 minutes to write your answer. Right, so I hope you would have written an answer. Let's have a look at a sample answer, right? So you can write dear sir or dear madam. I would just write dear sir, assuming that the school principal is male, right? So dear sir, I am writing to apply as a volunteer right? So I'm writing to apply as a volunteer to accompany school science trip. To accompany school science trip. So that is like an introductory sentence, right? I'm writing to apply as a volunteer to accompany school science trips. Next, I'll start to write body para 1, 2 and 3, which would be to introduce myself, give details about my kids, and then explain why I'm interested in the position and talk about previous experience that I've got with kids. Right, so let me start writing the remaining bit. My name is Susan Wills and I'm from Chiswick. My children are, let's say my children, Amy and Rayhan, are studying in the 6th grade of your school. Firstly, it would be my humble pleasure if I am given this opportunity to accompany students on this trip, or you can say on these trips. Further, I get ample time to spend with my kids. Additionally, I feel it is the best way to give back my time to the school. So the last para, lastly, you will be happy to know that I have also worked as a museum instructor for about a year during my early days after completing my studies. So, I have experience handling children, independently. I assure you that I will perform the assigned tasks well. Await to hear from you soon. එදිට මාවත් එක්ක ගන්න. Yours faithfully, this is Susan Wills. In the first one, I have written an introductory line, then introduction about myself, and as to why, the question tells you, explain why you are interested in the position. So I tell them why I'm interested in it, okay? And also my previous experience with children, and finally I say, wait to hear from you soon, yours faithfully, the name. Right, so I think you can also now start writing similar letters, right? Let us have a look at the next style. So when we have a look at the third type, invitation letters. Now here are some of the phrases that will help you when you're writing an invitation letter. I'm writing you in response to your invitation, or you could say with the reference of your proposal. Again, these are formal ones, okay? Please do let me know if you can make it. Do let me know if you can make it. Quite similar, informal letters. It would be delightful to have you here, right? I'm writing to reply to your kind invitation regarding the, okay, remaining bit. Thank you for your kind invitation, however, unfortunately. So when you can't come, when someone has invited you, but you can't really make it, please RSVP as soon as possible. So here are some of the phrases that you could actually use for an invitation style letter. All right, so let's have a look at a practice question. Write a letter to your friend who lives in another country. So when you say friend, we know that the tone will be informal. So in this letter, you need to invite your friend to a public event and in your country, because your friend lives in another country. Okay, so your friend can live in India, maybe Singapore, maybe Malaysia, USA, right? So your friend lives in another country and you want to invite your friend to a public event in Sri Lanka. Or you can think that you're living in another country, no problem, wherever you are living, right? Describe the public event. Explain what other plans you have for your friend when he or she will visit. Okay? So this is going to be an informal letter and we are going to write 3 paras. Para 1, we're going to invite our friend to come for a public event in our country, and then I'm going to describe the public event, and then I'm going to tell my friend what other plans I have in my mind for my friend. All right? Okay, so let's start writing one, but before that, you can take 20 minutes and try to write one on your own, okay? If you don't feel that comfortable, you think you need more support, you can have a look at the answer. Okay, so it depends. If you feel you want to try it on your own, pause the video for 20 minutes and then you can have a look at the answer. But if you feel no, you want more support, then no problem. You can have a look at the answer we're writing now. Okay, so I'm going to write a letter to my friend Emily. Okay, so I'm going to say, Dear Emily, how have you been? Since we last met? I thought I'd drop you a line to see If you fancy coming over for bonfire night, which is on, let's say, which is on 5th of November. Okay, you can put the TH here if you want to. So now I'm going to explain about it. Bonfire night is a great event in England particularly in my hometown. It starts as soon as the sun has set, because the event is held around a huge bonfire. As the weather is cold, let's continue. The bonfire adds wonderful warmth. During that time, there's a guy who represents Guy Fawkes, a man who tried to blow up the parliament. On top of that, there's also fireworks, and a chance to cook your own food on the fire which I'm sure you love. So last para, I'm going to talk about what I would want to do with my friend, right? What other things I have planned while you're over. We'll be able to do a trip to London as I know you've always wanted to visit there. We can go to see the London Eye, the famous museum, Madame Tussauds, right, so we can continue from there. The Christmas lights will have been switched on by then, and they are amazing. You'll also be able to visit the big Christmas market and do all your Christmas shopping. I hope the concluding sentence, you'll be able to come over. Right back soon. Love, Susan. Right, so what have I written here? So, assuming that I live in England, right, I've invited my friend Emily. Okay, so I've asked Emily to come for an event named the Bonfire Night, which is held on the 5th of November. And I explained to her what happens in the Bonfire Night, and then I told her if she comes, we could also visit London because she's always wanted to be there. We could go and see the London Eye and Madame Tussauds, right? And then we could also go Christmas shopping because there'll be a big Christmas market around London. So I've invited her over to come and visit. Now, if you think that you're in Sri Lanka, you could ask your friend to come to see the Candy Perahara, right? Or any other event that you think would be nice for your friend to come and see. Okay, but it needs to be a public event. Right, so we'll have a look at another question. You will be graduating from university and would like to invite your family to the ceremony. Write a letter of invitation to your parents. Right, so we're writing to our parents. Is informal because I'm writing to my parents, right? Explain that you have completed your studies. Give details of the event including time, date and dress code. Let them know how many tickets they have and who they are for. So you've got 3 paras to write. 1, explain that you have completed the studies. So basically explain that I have completed the studies, and then give details about the ceremony including the time, date and the dress code. And then finally I need to let them know how many tickets there are and who can actually come in. Now this one, I'd like you to take 20 minutes, pause the video and write down an answer. Right, so I hope you would have finished writing an answer. Let's have a look at a sample answer, right? So maybe we'll take a different color. So let's write an answer. Dear, you can write Dear Ammi and Tati, Dear Amma and Tata, Dear Amma and Apache, or I would just write Dear Mom and Dad because it is an English exam, okay? So Dear Mom and Dad. So here we are going to talk about the point where I got my results, right? I received the results from the final exams today. I passed my final year and I'll be graduating in June. They gave us only a maximum of 5 tickets let's write 5 in words. I think that would be better. They gave us 5 tickets per family. So I thought I'd write to you first to let you know the details and who to invite. So next I'm going to tell about the event, the time, date and dress code. The ceremony will be held in the main hall of Harriet Watt University on the 5th of June 2022. It will start at 4 p.m. but you have to be in your seats by 3 p.m. Also, everyone has to be dressed formal. It's a black tie and white shirt. The next para, who you want to invite, right? Obviously, I want you two there and bring my sister too. I thought we could give the other 2 seats to grandma and granddad, or let's say grandpa. I did try to get extra tickets, but there are a limited number of seats that can fit in the room. Let me know if anyone can't make it. Hope to see you all soon. Love, Emily. Now hopefully you have somewhat a similar structure. It doesn't have to be the same details. So I tell mom and dad that I've got my results and that we've got some tickets and they could come for the graduation. So I tell them about the ceremony. It's going to be held in the main hall of Harriet University on the 5th of June 2022. And I tell them that it will start at 4 p.m. but you have to be in your seats by 3 p.m. And also everyone has to be dressed formal. It's a black tie and white shirt, right? Obviously, I want you two there and bring my sister too. I thought we could give the other 2 seats to grandma and grandpa. I did try to get some extra tickets, but obviously there's only a limited number. So let me know if anyone can't make it and hope to see you all soon. Love, Emily. Okay. So there you go. That is like an invitation type of letter. Okay. Now we come to our 4th style of letter, which is known as letter of advice. Okay. So here are some of the phrases you could use. I'm happy to advise you that it would or might be a good idea to, you're giving advice. I honestly believe it would be better to do what? In my honest opinion, I would, right? I strongly advise you to or not to. The best thing for you to do is what, right? Please consider, my advice. It should come together, I think. Okay, so let's not put the A separately. Let's put it here. Please do consider my advice because, and then I would strongly suggest you consider, okay? So these are some of the phrases you could use when you're writing an advice letter, and it would be good if you could go through these and start using them in your writing. So practice makes it perfect. So make sure you do lots of practice questions, okay? Now let's have a look at practice question 1. So let us have a look at a practice question. Write a letter to your favorite restaurants. It seems like a semi-formal one. Okay, it could be even like a formal one. I would say more like a formal one. Okay, so favorite restaurant, let's say formal. Include the following: your reason for writing, what you like about the restaurant, suggestions for improvement, okay? So we can write a letter to the favorite restaurant and we could include a reason for writing, okay? So it could be any reason. Maybe you want to tell something good about the restaurant, about a meal that you had, okay? So take 20 minutes and try to do it on your own first, and then I'll put up an answer for you, right? So off you go, try it on your own first, and then let's see after 20 minutes. So pause the video and give it a shot on your own. Alright, so I hope you would have finished writing your answer. Let's try to write one, okay? So because it's my favorite restaurant, I'm going to write to the manager. Dear Mr. Johnson, I recently ate at your restaurant. Famously grilled. And I would like to write to express my gratitude for operating such a great establishment. I have eaten at your restaurant many times. And every meal I have had there has been truly delicious. I have tried many of your dishes but my absolute favorite is the chicken pie. Please don't ever change the recipe. It is incredible. So next para, what you like about the restaurant? I love the decorations that you have inside your restaurant, and I think the service is excellent. You do a great job of choosing good people to run your restaurant. I have one suggestion. It would be nice if you could have a private room or area so that people could book in advance for any celebrations. Hope you would consider this suggestion. Yours sincerely, Emily Wilson. Right, okay, so here you have written your letter, okay? So you've written to the restaurant owner or the manager, dear Mr. Johnson, and you've told him that you're writing to express your gratitude for operating such a wonderful restaurant, okay? And then I go on to tell what I like about it, and then finally one suggestion that I have, okay? So again, you can see 1, 2, 3, body para 1, 2, and 3, okay? Right, let's have a look at the second practice question. Your friend is considering buying a house nearby. You have decided to leave the area due to a rise in crime. Okay, so what has happened? My friend. So this is informal. Is considering of buying a house nearby, but I have decided to leave. So write a letter to my friend advising them not to move into the neighborhood, and I should recommend where. So recommend that your friend. So you have to recommend, don't put that there, we don't need that, okay. Recommend your friend not to go ahead with the purchase, and then give the reasons behind my decision to leave and suggest possible alternative areas. So I have to tell them why I think it's not good to move into the neighborhood, and then give them reasons behind my decision, and then tell them possible alternatives or possible areas that they could move into. So I'd like you to take 20 minutes and plan your answer. Off you go. Alright, so I hope you would have finished your answer by now. Let's have a look at a sample, right? So I'm going to write to my friend Susan. So, dear Susan, hope you are keeping well. Gerald told me that you have put in an offer on a house in Tooting Broadway just around the corner from me. I thought I'd let you know a couple of things. Let's just say a couple of things. Okay, so I need to tell them why not to get a house in Tooting Broadway. Okay, we've been experiencing problems associated with a noticeable rise in crime in the area, particularly car theft and burglary. This has been happening to us and our neighbors for over a year now. And my husband and I have been desperate to leave the area. We have chosen to rent a house somewhere nicer and I thought I'd advise you to do the same. Right, so here I have written to why my friend should not go ahead with getting that property, and I've also kind of given her the recommendations, rather the reasons behind it, okay? So here I've told my friend, well, I don't think you should get it, and then I've told her, oops. So I've said, okay, don't get it. I'll let you know a couple of things, and I've given her the reasons behind it. Now comes my final para, suggest possible alternative areas, okay? Right, so moving on. The current property prices do not reflect the changes that have occurred in the area over the last 12 months. We were considering a place nearby. I think we need to write the nearby properly. Considering a place nearby Chiswick. It's quite small, but crime rates are low and it is residential. It is a residential area. wherever you decide to move, I just wanted you to know that I would advise against moving here as I think you can find much better place. With love, Susan. Right, so basically I tell my friend, well, I don't think you should come here because there's a lot of theft and burglary happening around. So I don't think you should move here. We're also thinking of moving out. So I'm of course going to move to a residential area which is quite small in Chiswick, right? But wherever you move, that's fine. Just make sure that I don't recommend this as a good place for you to move. Right, so I think we've had a look at 4 types of letters, okay? So let's just quickly go through, this is part 1, there are a few more of the types, right? So we've had a look at complaint letter, which was the first one. Then we had a look at the second one, which was letter of application. Then, of course, we had a look at the third type, which was letter of invitation, and the last type was letter of advice. Okay. So, with that, I think we have understood how to approach writing letters and the different types of letters, and how do we understand if it is formal, semi-formal and informal. And then, of course, while looking at the examples that I've written, you can see the tone and the style of writing for each of these letter styles. So with that, we come to the end of types of letters part 1, and there's another part which will continue the remaining types.